Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I know it's been a while, but as you might notice, my voice has been slowly recovering over the course of several weeks. And, well, a number of other things have been going on in life. But for those of you that are my regular subscribers, it's good to finally be back and talking to all of you again. For those of you that are new, looking forward to interacting with all of you. And without too much further ado, let's dive into some of the absolutely crazy events that have been happening in the last month because I've only made one video, probably I think in October, and that's been pretty much it. So we've had a government shutdown. The basically SNAP benefits being cut off for a period of time, not very long, but as you all know, that a lot of the stuff that's going on has created a lot of insanity out there. And let's talk about it a little bit. But one of the first things that I wanted to kind of dive into is okay, SNAP benefits. And one of the things that I think that kind of surprised me about SNAP benefits is that there's so many people on SNAP that actually work full time jobs. They work full time for companies. Some of them are, companies like Amazon or larger corporations like that. But I mean, I believe in the neighborhood of about 70% of people that are on SNAP actually already work. So most of the people that we are constantly encouraged to believe are just basically deadbeats that are misusing the system. For the most part, by and large, it's not people like that. It's people that are working for companies and corporations and they're working full time and they don't make enough money to be able to survive. So they live off government assistance. Something to seriously consider about this is that why do we have so many companies that are basically defaulting to the government using our taxpayer dollars to cover the fact that they don't pay enough when they can pay enough? That's a very good question. Is the problem really that people want to earn a living wage, or that we've got major companies that have been allowed to manipulate the system and make arrangements with the government to where the government now covers all these people that are working full time but simply don't make enough money to be able to survive? What kind of an epidemic have we created here? Because over the years, people have said, well, somebody who's flipping burgers shouldn't be able to make enough money. That's just an entry level job. But what is happening here in the United States is the decimation of the middle class, even the illusion of it to a certain degree, because to some degree, many of you have pointed it out, and it is to a fair degree true. The middle class has always been kind of an illusion. But we are now getting down to a point where it's becoming abundantly clear. All well paying jobs are just being slashed. It isn't just people losing jobs. Even if they manage to gain employment again, they don't make enough money to live. And this is becoming not just just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you'll make it. It simply isn't happening. It simply isn't working. And this unfortunately, everyone, is the future that we are moving into. Very serious cause for concern. One of the other things that I wanted to mention in today's video is many of these people that are working these full-time jobs for these companies, some of them are IT jobs, all sorts of different work, from manufacturing to working in warehouses to working in office buildings. Many of these people have now taken to TikTok, to YouTube, to other places where they live in their car. They live in their car and they are employed. They don't make enough money to be able to rent an apartment, buy a home, or do anything to where they can live and function without having to switch to living in their car to maintain any quality of life so they can pay for things like food, basic amenities. I find that incredibly disturbing. This is the future that we're heading towards. A struggle between the powers that be, the elites, and everybody else who are simply trying to work regular jobs that simply don't pay enough. So they either have to get government assistance or live in a vehicle and end up fighting the county, state, or municipality that they live in because living in a vehicle is illegal and there's no way to park and live in your vehicle. So basically, you have to get to a point where you are an absolute, complete, and utter debt slave, or somehow you're doing something illegal that they need to come after you over. And there's got to be a breaking point coming. There seriously has to be a breaking point coming to help shift and change all of this. And another point to bring up, which when I heard this, I was like, oh, good Lord. And the fact that it's being introduced and pushed even by people like Trump, which generally speaking, I consider myself somebody who absolutely supports free enterprise and business. But 50-year mortgages, I want you to think about that for a minute. Your entire adult life, you're pretty much in debt. Not 20 or 30-year mortgages, 50-year mortgages. Imagine that being pushed on our parents, on our grandparents. No one is going to go for that unless they absolutely have to. But think about the implications of that. Many people that I know whose homes were paid off, maybe that were boomers, would still owe money on it if it was a 50-year mortgage. That is absolutely in no way, shape, or form a solution. And when Trump came out and said that and began to push that, or anybody else has acted like they were supporting it, basically that screws over everybody else. Because now they're saying, well, you don't need to get a tiny home or some sort of sustainable living or some sort of way to get out of debt. Just be in debt a whole lot longer. And we'll kind of sort of say that you own your home when the reality is the bank owns your home. You don't own it. The bank owns it. You're just in as much trouble as you were pretty much prior to that. If you were renting or struggling to live because you're 1 or 2 bad months away from losing everything. Not a solution at all. And from what I've seen of the numbers that have been crunched out there, you're really paying almost as much as you were monthly, the same way that you were in a 20 or 30-year mortgage. It's not a solution. It's just an extended problem keeping people in debt. And it tells me that both parties are against this. Both parties are against the American people. And any positive move forward that we're going to have is really going to be an issue because it's always going to get undone if it's something that's seriously helping us. So with all that said, that's pretty much the video for today. And I appreciate every last one of you for sticking in here and hanging with me. And I'm looking forward to talking to you all again in the next one. As always, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. All of that helps the algorithm. If you're able to boost this channel in any way you can, certainly helps. I absolutely appreciate it. And if you do want to join the community, we're kind of firing that back up over on the school platform. So I'll post a link to that in there as well. So look forward to talking to you all again soon.